Okay, okay. Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, okay. Thank you for coming today. My name is Ryo Yamada. I'm from Japan, and we are a startup uh, based in Tokyo, and we're here today to talk to you about solving world water issues, a model case from small island nations by using super small water recycling plants. And I don't think you can hear his voice, but our CEO is also joining by Zoom. He unfortunately couldn't make it today because he has to leave to go back to Japan. So he's at the airport right now. Sorry. Okay, so I'd like to begin. So we are WOTA, and the reason why we're here at COP is the Earthshot Prize. So His Royal Highness Prince William and the Royal Foundation started this Earthshot Prize this year, and they awarded 15 finalists in different domains. And we are doing water recycling, and our theme was zero waste. And so we are a finalist, and we came to COP to present our solutions to the world. Okay, so I want to start out by telling you briefly about the world problems, water problems around the world. So in this modern world, there are three major water issues. Water shortage being the first. It's estimated that there's going to be 30 or more metropolises around the world that is going to experience very serious water shortage. The second is access to water, which is still a very major issue around the world. And third, water pollution. So in this case, you do have water, but it is polluted by all sorts of pollutants. And there are over 700 million people that are experiencing this issue. And the reason why we came to your pavilion today is because we think that your nations, the small island nations, have all of these issues within your country. Um, this is some of the research we did, but it said that by 2026, there's going to be water shortage in many of the islands. And 35% of islanders may face inefficient water supply in the coming decades. And over 60% of your nations experience coral reef bleaching due to wastewater from desalination and also wastewater from households. So with all these water issues in mind, we want to introduce our technology, which is this WOTA box. And this WOTA box is actually a very compact water treatment plant, water recycling plant, 100,000 times smaller than a conventional water treatment plant. And what it does is it recycles 98% of used water on site. So you can use a very small amount of water many times and also not pollute the environment with the wastewater that you have. And so with this technology, we think that, sorry, is the, okay, so with the WOTA box, we can solve all three of these issues because we can reuse the same water many times. which contributes to abundance of water. And you can install these systems in a very relatively short period of time, which makes it much easier to provide access to water. And finally, there's no wastewater coming out, so we can minimize the effects of water pollution um, from the wastewater. So, um, how does that change from the existing water use? So, currently, you're drawing water from the ocean and desalinating it and providing it to households. And that wastewater returns back to the ocean. Um, and you also have brine coming out of the desalination process. And these two wastewaters could hurt the environment. But with our product, once you have a certain water to begin with, you can recycle that many, many times. And so it's a kind of a closed loop within a household or a small community. And what we want to do is to demonstrate this technology in your countries. We already have pilot projects working in Japan, in mountainous areas of Japan, where it's very expensive to make large infrastructure. So we already have the technology, and we want to apply it to overseas. And your nations are, I think, the ideal place to do so. And from there, we want to expand to other areas of the world where there are mountainous regions or there are dry areas that are experiencing water shortage. And finally, we have a financing scheme that we want to propose, and that is that um, Japan and the ADB can provide grants to install this technology. How do we do that? Basically, we use what's called the joint crediting mechanism that our government and Ministry of Environment is promoting. And so by installing the water box, um, we can drastically reduce the amount of CO2 that is used to treat wastewater and transport water. So that decarbonization is converted to like a credit, CO2 credit, and so grant that is equivalent to that credit will be provided from the Japanese government as well as the ADB. And we've been talking to the ministry secretary of the Ministry of Environment in Japan, and he was very keen to actually promote this project. And so, if any of you listening are interested in partnering with us to use this technology, we would love to talk with you after this. Thank you. If you okay. Okay. So right now, this one unit provides for 10 houses. For 10 houses. Okay, so can you hear me? Okay, okay. So the joint crediting mechanism is basically Japan's one of its tools to achieve its greenhouse gas reductions. And so basically, by when we install this system in your countries, it's essentially reducing the CO2 that is needed to treat water or transport water. And so that reduction is converted into credits, and the government, Japanese government, and the ADB provide grants based on that. Yeah. We apply grant for. Okay. Okay. So the details of this scheme is still we're still working on it. So if any of you are interested in starting the discussion, we'd love to talk. That's the kind of yeah where we are. Well, we can calculate the amount of CO2 required to treat water by calculating the amount of energy we use in water treatment and the amount of materials, energy that was required to make that treatment equipment. So we can convert that to the amount of carbon per unit of water.
But you see, since the grant is based
Yes.
on the elimination of the pollutant, so to speak,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and that is going to be owned by you, by the Japanese government,
Yes.
because that is what the Japanese government will
Yes.
use
Yes.
to pay for the technology.
Yes. Yes.
How do you reliably measure those units? Because the beneficiary of the grant
Okay.
would have to have a reliable way of measuring the unit.
Yes. Yes.
How do you do that?
I see. I see. Well, we won't be exactly like calculating ourselves, but I think, as I told you, like the method to calculate is there, and the Ministry of the Environment in Japan is willing to help us uh, pull this project through. So we'll have to work with them to find a way to calculate
Yeah.
that reliability.
Is there going to be a meter on
Yes.
the equipment that will show the amount of carbon dioxide that is being eliminated?
Oh, okay. I don't think we need something that specific. We can calculate based on the type of machinery we're using and the type of filters that we're using, like how much energy we use, and that we can use to calculate the amount of CO2 based on the technology, based on the process.
But it's not all water government also, because this would not obviously
Yes.
be tied into sewage.
Tied into
Sewage.
sewage. Yes, 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 yes.
That is tied into sewage as well?
Uh, yes, our unit can receive work with the country to make that possible. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Are there any final questions just before we close out?
Just to clarify, within a household, would it be that each unit can accommodate 10 persons in a household, or is it 10 households?
10 households.
10 households.
Yes. It's about 10 cubic meters per day
Uh-huh.
of, that's the performance.
Right.
So 1 cubic meter per household is our estimate. Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Household, you would have to give a typical size of the household.
Size?
What the size of the household?
Okay, so 1 cubic meter, for example, in Japan, we use about 250 liters per person. So that's about 4 person in a household. But if you don't use that much water, you can support much larger. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't do research on how much water people use. um,
So, how is it powered?
okay, so right now it can be powered just by regular conventional like power outlet, but you can also power it with solar power or renewable energies as well. Yes, we can combine that with the unit.
So it's more additional, something additional you have to.
Yes, yes, yes. But it can all be part of the system that we install with this scheme.
And that would be how?
Oh, well, we had to add that on, but still, it's part of this mechanism. So the financial burden should be quite low because of all the subsidies that we can provide there. Yeah.
Yesterday you mentioned that you have solar, quite a few in Japan already.
Yes.
Could you repeat that for everyone else?
Oh, okay. Yes. We already have hundreds of units working in Japan. And also, you mentioned if we get funding. And yes, we are a startup, but we have received funding from government and also venture capitals and corporate VCs. So we are very well funded in that way. And we do have a very good relationship with the Japanese government. So, yes, that's.
So, thanks for the presentation. It's really interesting.
Thank you.
And the Department of the Environment and the Minister,
Thank you.
we're looking at technologies that would help us reduce government investment costs and protect the environment. So this has been really interesting. So if we were to use your technology or participate in the JI, the Joint Implementation Plan, how would a country signal that? What would you need?
Sorry?
What would I need to say
That you
to,
want
to work with you
Okay,
and
okay.
go to the Japanese government to get the grant?
Oh, I see, I see. So, right now, we're still at this stage where we're looking to see whether any nation would be interested in working with us. So, if you are, we would love to, after we return to Japan, have more discussions and maybe have the Ministry of Environment also join the discussion to see how we can progress the project. Yeah. So, yeah.
So
Thank you.
thank you. So Craig will be our contact. Craig and
Oh,
Krista.
sorry.
So our contact with
Okay,
Widow.
okay.